I have here with me some very special people who I will introduce in just a second. But in the meantime, settle down, grab a drink. Whatever you got is good. Grab a pen, grab a paper, whatever you like to take notes with, and just take an hour, take some time for yourself. If you are here, you really, really want to know how to stop doing everything for yourself. You need a little bit of help protecting your focus. You need a little bit of support in making sure that the rest of the world doesn't drain your entire battery before the day even starts. So here with me, I have three very special people, like I said. We have Faye. She is our filter. We have Jalen, our project manager, also known as the architect, and our customer success queen, Irish, also known as the protector. The team is going to refer to me as Miss A. That's what they're used to. You can call me Abigail, Avi, Avi, Mommy, Mama. I answer to all of those. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight in. Normally, if you're joining me on a webinar, I'm teaching about something, but today I'm actually in the hot seat and I'm going to be revealing all of my tips and tricks to you guys. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, they're a little bit embarrassing if I have to be very frank. I don't like to open up the back end of my operations to other people, but today I brought my team, my Human Firewall, because Alisto was built for this exact purpose. Your business, my business, only grows as far as boundaries will allow. And when we at Alisto input strong boundaries, our business was able to thrive. And quite honestly, when I'm left to my own devices, I have absolutely no boundaries. So we're gonna throw it over to the team to tell you a little bit about what before looked like and let you into our nightmare of before we let you in on how we transform to after.
Right, so I will start it. So yeah, my name is Irish, by the way, and I am the client success lead for Alisto. So we support neurodivergent entrepreneurs, startup business owners, and thought leaders. So what it's like before I entered in Alisto, there was really no client success lead. There's no protector, there's no translator. There is translator, there are regulators, but those regulators also has another task, like the operations team, like the executive assistants. So they are like all in one. But when the client success lead like me entered in Alisto, so there's someone who's really like protecting the focus of Miss A. So me myself, I really specialize in turning like complexity into clarity, bridging clients and leadership by translating diverse needs into clear, actionable strategies. So I make sure that on my end, I'll identify what to de-escalate and then what needs to escalate to Miss A. So not everything will be going to Miss A to protect her focus, because the goal is for her to also finish what the client paid for. So at the core of my work is really to create structure, reducing overwhelm, and helping people succeed in a way that works for them. Because my goal and our goal in Alisto is to really champion those people who really have a vision in turning their business into an impact, not just wherever they are, but in the world itself.
And honestly, before we had customer success, that meant that I was the person who was responding to the customer messages or the client messages, but kind of only when I felt like it. Yeah. So I used to think that being accessible 24/7 made me a good leader. It meant that everybody was able to reach me whenever they needed. So if a client messaged me at 11 p.m. on LinkedIn or even by text message, I'd reply instantly, because my ADHD brain felt that urgency as a personal threat. Like it felt like I needed to do things right away. I was the emergency contact for everything, and that was a problem. Jalen, why was that a problem?
So, hi, I'm Jalen. So before, I'm the project manager of Alisto, by the way. So before, as a project manager and the architect of the timeline, building a plan felt like building on sand because no matter how structured or realistic the schedule was, it kept collapsing because Miss A would say yes to client's request even though it is outside of the scope of work. So each new yes introduced unplanned task. The team will be shifting priorities and disrupted their dependencies, wherein we are forced to have constant rework of the timeline, and also that makes the deadlines unreliable. So instead of executing a clear plan, the team was stuck reacting, adjusting, and firefighting. We are fight we are taking down fires.
Sorry,
And
absolutely. Especially like because I was supposed to be guiding things, right? The person who's responsible for answering customer messages, who's responsible for the operations of the business is responsible for setting the tone for everything. But if you're a person like me, that means you have amazing ideas and not a lot of structure. That makes it almost impossible for your team to keep up with you. And if I'm being really, really honest with you, even if your team can keep up, you're going to burn them out. They're going to get exhausted. They cannot keep up with you indefinitely. So we're going to show you how we actually do that, where this starts. And it starts where everything starts. It starts where the core engine of your entire business and your entire life is, which is your inbox.
Hi everyone, my name is Faye. I'm Miss Avi's, Miss A's inbox gatekeeper or schedule keeper at some point. I filter everything, all the messages, everything in between. And with that being said, I will share with you for a quick second my screen so that you'll know what it is like to be in Avi's world. So let's look at how we fix this. I am always the first one who sees Avi's digital world. My job is to make sure she only sees what requires her genius and, of course, not her anxiety. So this is partially her inbox, and then the slide that we are in right now is our WhatsApp group chat. For this one, I used the frame system. We took it in the Distant Academy or the DA Academy. So when an email comes in and asking for, like, let's say a quick 5-minute call with Miss Abby, it isn't on that. Of course, it isn't on the calendar. I don't tell Miss Abby about it. I always filter everything. So what this means is that everything that is needed to be prioritized, I placed it in the WhatsApp group, and every question should be one message. Every schedule should be like one paragraph within the one paragraph or one how do you call it, one text message, so that her brain is within the direction that we want her brain to be in, and it is not scrambled. Your ADHD CEO or my ADHD CEO needs to be focused. That's why I'm here half the time, most of the time, to help her be the best version of herself. But of course, sometimes Avi also filters email before I do, because we are on a work schedule, and my day ends roughly around mid afternoon. So she checks it. But nonetheless, everything after filtering it, we hand it over to our client success lead, Irish, to take over everything client related. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. So, yep. Faye already mentioned that after doing what she needs to do, she will like hand over everything to me. So that's definitely where I really stepped in. So, for example, Faye, as the DA or the lead DA, flags a client who is pushing boundaries. I actually handle the no. And if we will listen with the word no, it's kind of a decline or something negative. That's actually what we think the nature of no is. But as a client success lead, there's actually like a specific statement that what we call like positive scripting in a way that the client will feel that it's still a yes. Like, for example, to ensure we hit our project milestone for you, Miss A or Avi is deep work mode until Thursday. So I've logged your request. Here is the next step. So if you will observe from that statement, aside from this is a positive scripting, this is letting them know that we are working on something for them to support them, because the goal is to make sure that they feel supported and understood. But at the same time, we give the expectation as well. We cannot give the answer right now, but this is the expectation, like day where you can get the answer. But right now, this is what you expect from us, and this is what we can expect from you. So that's actually the totality of this like one sentence statement. So with that, we protect, as a client success lead, I protect her focus so she can actually do the strategy the client paid for. So we make sure that the energy of Miss A is protected, the focus is protected, and what the client paid for is really protected. So there, that's how my job is.
And once the client signed, me as the architect or the project manager will do the project timeline. So the most important thing we need to learn if we want to have a near to perfect project structure and timeline is to protect our boundaries. So boundaries aren't just about saying no, they are about agreements. And my job is to build tracks the train runs on. So actually we have this framework that Miss A created. It is the Octopus Method. So Octopus Method is also one of the topics in our DA Academy. And it is a proactive thinking framework used to anticipate what's coming and structure projects before problems appear. So it works by breaking any task or client situation into 7 key lenses. Actually, the octopus is an acronym which represents the 7 key lenses, wherein the first O is outcomes, wherein here we define clear, measurable success. The C is constraints. Here we identify limits like time, budget, or resources. And then T is timeline, wherein here we map the full step-by-step process to achieve the deadline. And obstacles, here we predict what could go wrong and where things are fragile. And then P is priorities, wherein we clarify what matters most versus what can wait. And U is urgencies, wherein we separate what needs immediate action from what is simply important. And S, last but not the least, is systems, wherein we build repeatable processes so problems don't reoccur, such as SOPs. And then by running any project through these layers, we move from reactive execution to structured foresight. So we can see risk early, align expectations clearly, and design systems that prevent chaos instead of just responding to it. And then if Miss A wants to over-deliver, I show her the capacity chart of the whole team. So we have visual systems that show the team's capacity. So if the box is red, then Miss A is not allowed to say yes to any client's request that is out of scope of work. So I know that it's hard for her to do that because she used to be a yes person and she wants the best for all of our clients. So therefore, usually she adds or grant clients requests to add extra services that are not on the scope. So we need to literally jump into our Discord thread and stop her because if we add that, the timelines for our 3 other clients might break or will break. So I just want to ask you, Miss A, how has having a system architect change your mental health as a neurodivergent founder?
Yeah. I mean, this one was really huge for me because I'm not just ADHD, I'm ADHD, which means that I have autistic traits as well as ADHD characteristics. I am an excellent systems thinker. This is the way I think. This is the way my brain works. But something between the inside of my brain and my mouth or my hands doesn't communicate the full picture clearly. And my biggest challenge has always been that when somebody is trying to help me out operationally, they try and get art from the first step. I'm not going to start with you at the first step unless I understand that you understand what I understand. And what I mean by that, if you're not neurodivergent and couldn't follow that, because I see only one of 3 people on the screen understood what I was just saying, I need to know you see the full picture in the same way that I see the full picture before I'm willing to trust you to lead me down a path. And that's one of the things that we worked so hard to build, was the path forward that feels comfortable for the founder and also allows the team to be fully in control of the deliverables and the execution. You guys notice that we're introducing you to 3 separate people who all work together, and each element of their jobs is very critical. For me, having the system is not just as simple as having a good system. It's having a good system that changes when I need it to change without me asking for something specific. The system has to just recognize when something has to shift or something has to change, and it just has to do it on its own to make sure that I'm still adhering to the system. But that's not even the hardest part. The biggest challenge with systems is that even if a great system exists, I have to use it. I have to keep it up to date. I have to input the information. If you have a beautiful dashboard that requires you to update it every day and you don't update it every day, then you have nothing. And that's where I kept coming back to before. And it was so frustrating, especially because in my mind, I have every single tool that I need. I can see it. I know what the next step is. I understand what the whole plan is. In my mind, it's all clear. It's all completely planned. That doesn't help my team in real life. And it kept me not only alone, meaning that I was the one who had to actually execute on everything, but it put me in a place where I had genuinely convinced myself that nobody was smart enough to keep up with me. What am I gonna, I'm just gonna be alone my whole life. I'm just gonna be lonely and have to do everything myself because nobody can keep up with me. That's not true. It's just that you're trying to ask too much of one single person when really you need a bunch of different things all at the same time. And unless and until I had that system, I wasn't even able to see how much I was truly demanding of all of the other people around me. I'll also say that it's hard. Having a system that actually works is difficult, and I will tell you why. It means that you have to actually do shit. You can't just wake up in the morning and open your inbox and work all day and be busy and feel really productive. No, you have to only do the thing that the system tells you that you're supposed to do, which is only going to be the most important thing unless something more urgent comes up. But guess what? You're not the one who decides. You, the founder who I'm talking to, you're not the one who decides if something is urgent. The system decides. And that's hard for a controlling person, which I assume you are. Because if you're here listening to me, I assume you're like me. And if you're like me, you're a control freak. And that's okay. You can be as controlling as you need to be. But being controlling without a system that communicates to other people on your behalf means that you're going to be alone. And alone is not the way. That was a long answer to a short question. But Yeah. So, I mean, and honestly, for me, because it was how we developed the OCTOPUS method. Because essentially there were things that were coming up again and again and again and again that we need to be able to know in order to plan something. You can only make a plan if you know what information you have and what information you don't have. It's like going back to, I don't know, 7th grade algebra or something, and you're trying to solve those like stupid algebra equations that have X, Y, and Z. You're like, what even is this? How am I supposed to know what anything is? You don't know what anything is until you know what you have and what you don't have. Okay, I have X. I don't have Y or Z. Cool. Let's take what you have and figure out if we can figure out what we don't have. But when you're an ADHD person, all you have is whatever is going on in your brain right now. And OCTOPUS puts all of that into a frame of this is what you actually need to do so that you can't pretend to be busy. You have to actually do the work that's going to move the needle. And I hate to tell you, sometimes that's going to be the stuff you don't want to do. But it has to be you. Okay, I think we have time for some questions now. Is that where we're at?
Yes.
Do we have any questions from the chat, y'all?
Question just popped up. My VA just does what I tell them to do. So I still have to think about everything. How do I get them to be like you guys? That's the question.
I personally think that that's a training issue because most VAs are reactive. To get a distant assistant or a DA, you have to train them in decision support, wherein we discuss in DA Academy. They need to know how you think, not just how you want how you want it done.
Yeah, because when you're hiring a virtual assistant, really their entire job is to do what you tell them to do. That's the job. And that's why we get a question so often. I don't know if we got it this time, but that's why we get I think people are trying to stick it to me. The question we get is, well, why can't I just use AI? You can use AI. You can. But guess what? When you're using AI, does AI crawl into your brain and extract the information? Or do you have to type it in? When you are typing it in, what you are in fact doing, and I might be the first person to tell you this, but when you type words into computer, what you are doing is communicating with the computer what you want it to do. Now, is that the same thing as a virtual assistant? Maybe yes, maybe no. The difference with a distant assistant or a virtual assistant that has been invested in with training is that they become the person who is putting the information into the AI. The goal is not for you to either communicate with a virtual assistant or to communicate with a bot. That's not the goal. The goal is for you to communicate with somebody who is a very capable, well-educated human being who is sitting in another part of the world. That's what makes them distant. And they work virtually. That's what makes them virtual. But they are not a robot. They are a human being that has a brain and the capacity to interact with you and to understand your priorities and to get a feeling of what you want to be doing, to get a feeling of what the growth of the business is going to look like, to feel connected to you, to feel like they want to put in extra effort on your behalf. And the more that this person gets involved in your business, the more that you get to know them, the more that you connect to them, the more that they are able to do for you as a replacement to the parts of your brain that you're trying to replace. And by replace, I do mean replace. I know that people really don't like that. But when we hire executive assistants, distant assistants, what we are hiring for is somebody who can be my outsourced executive functioning. That's literally what I'm looking for. When I'm looking for a marketing distant assistant. I am looking for somebody to take over my marketing strategy. That means to be the marketing brain, not just do the things I ask them to do. If they're waiting for somebody to tell them what they have to do, that means you didn't tell them what to do. Sorry, I know Jalen's not allowed to be mean to you guys. If somebody is waiting for you to tell them what to do, the only reason that they would be waiting is if you didn't tell them what to do. So now pull the string a little bit more. Why didn't you tell them what to do? Not because you're, okay, I'm sorry, but our faces in this picture are insane. We look cute. We look like little dolls. Okay. I'm sorry, I distracted myself, guys. The only reason someone is waiting for you to tell them what to do is because you didn't tell them what to do. The only reason you didn't tell them what to do, presumably you're not dumb. Presumably you don't know what to tell them what to do. So if you don't know what to tell them, then they have to know how to extract the information from you. They can learn how to, your DA or your VA can learn how to extract what information they want from you, but you have to give them the opportunity. You have to give them the training. And guess what? If you were capable of training them on your own, you would have done it already, right? So they need training that's outside of your area of expertise. They need training in how to communicate with you. They need training in how to get you to do tasks. They need training in how to think operationally. And quite frankly, those are not your strengths, my dear ADHD founder. They're likely not your strengths. So train your people. Again, a long answer to a short question. Do we have any others?
I just thank you for that, Miss A. I can also resonate with that. But while listening to you, I actually I want to go back to one of the statement in the comment as well. And I believe you can also relate to this. It says here, I'm afraid my clients will leave if I stop answering them personally. So yeah, what's your take about that?
Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming that the person who's asking is a founder and not a virtual assistant. In the event that the person who's asking is a virtual assistant or a distant assistant, and you don't want to say no to your clients, no, actually the answer is the same for both. I thought it was different. It's not. Regardless of who asked the question, there's a couple of things that we need to assume. The first thing that I'm assuming is that clarity is kindness. And the other thing I'm assuming is that confusion is cruelty. Okay? So if the way that I go through my life is that clarity is kindness and confusion is cruelty, there's only one path. That's the path of clarity, because I want to be kind and I don't want to be cruel. It's not part of who I am to just go around being cruel to people. So I have to be clear all the time. What that means, just follow my logic. I'm very autistic this morning, guys. You really are getting a snapshot today, but follow my logic with me. If I know that that confusion is cruelty and I don't want that, and I know that clarity is kindness and I do want that, so I know that I have to go with clarity. If I'm going with clarity, it means that no matter what, I have to pick communication, authenticity, and honesty over anything else. And if I also know that clarity is kindness and kindness is the correct way of being, then I know that by being clear, I can never be unkind. That's not to say you can't be an asshole while you're being clear. There's other ways of being not nice. But clarity is kindness. So once you get over that initial hurdle of like, should I tell them? Should I not tell them? That's not even a question. It's literally not a question. You have to communicate because clarity is kindness. And if you don't, then you're picking confusion. And if you're picking confusion, you're picking cruelty, and you're not a cruel person. So you have to pick clarity. Great. Now there's something that I must communicate. The only question that's left is, how do I communicate it? Where we get stuck and what that question sounded like. It's me one more time. Normally with
Sure, Miss Ace. It says, I'm afraid my clients will leave if I stop answering them personally.
yeah, okay. So the boundary here that you're setting is which clients get your attention and when. Nobody said don't answer your clients personally. You can still answer your clients personally. How are they going to get the best output from you? If you are like me, and I'm assuming you're like me if you're here, answering your clients personally, stay with me, feels like the right thing to do. But is it the kind thing to do? And by that, I mean, are you providing the best possible clarity to your client when you're responding to them? If you're like me, and I'm assuming you are, then you just answered them whatever you answered them. You didn't necessarily communicate that to anyone, let anyone know, follow up with it, put it in an email. You might have literally just answered the question and forgot about it. Is that the best way to serve your client? Objectively, no. So then what are you doing? You're just trying to make yourself feel like you're doing something. Again, going back to where we were, being busy for the sake of feeling like I'm accomplished, like I'm actually getting things done, and not being busy doing the things that move the needle. I get to show up the way that I am, and I get to be the person that I am, and I get to be on this webinar distracting myself and laughing at our AI generated faces because I have a team that set this up, that made sure the audio was working, that made sure the video was working, that prepared for this, that created the slideshow, that generated the AI images for me to be able to laugh at in the first place. I can just show up as I am because I have all of those layers of protection around me. So ultimately, although there might be pushback from clients, and clients could be annoyed if you stop answering them personally, everything, as always, boils down to how it's presented. You're not answering them personally. You're answering them through the team member that has been appointed to respond within the response window and appropriately to what the client needs. It's a shift. It's different. But what's holding you back right now is fear and potential guilt. When honestly, you don't have a choice other than to move forward with clarity. And I will add side that people who push back against your boundaries have no intention of keeping your boundaries. And if you have an opportunity to identify those people and not work with them in the future, that's to your benefit, in my opinion. What I'm saying is fuck them. Sorry, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying whatever. At the end of the day, my job is to protect you. You, your boundaries, your mental health, your capacity, the future of your business, your scalability, your growth, your family. I don't care about your clients. Clients come and go. Hope that answered our questions. And honestly, like when clients see a team, when you meet me and you know that I'm all over the place and still I show up the way that I show up, it's like, wow, I want to be like that. It's because of a team. It's not me. I don't know anything more than y'all know. I just surround myself with people who do better than I do. Oh, cool. Awesome. So if you've seen the firewall, you've seen how Faye and Jalen and Irish protect my brain so I can lead this community, so I can run my other businesses. And it is my personal philosophy and deep belief that you cannot scale a neurodivergent brain without this layer of protection. You just can't. And like I said before in the last question, I literally don't care about your clients. What I mean by that is I care about your sustainability in your life, which means that you need clients because you need finances. But I don't care about your existing clients necessarily unless they're serving you. And if they can't adhere to your boundaries, they're not serving you. So because we want to protect you no matter what, and we assume that you want to do the same, there's a couple of paths and a couple of ways that you can really make sure that you have that in your life. If you already have a VA, we have a couple of options for that. Jalen?
So the first option is the upgrade your team path, where it's an academy. If you have a VA that you love, but you are still the bottleneck, they need the DA Academy. We will take them through the frame system and the octopus method so they can become your external prefrontal cortex. We will teach them on how to be your firewall that you saw today.
And the second one is the build your team path. So if you're solo and drowning, you don't have time to train someone from scratch, you need an Alisto distant assistant. So we provide the person and the system already baked in so you can stop being the emergency contact immediately.
If you're not sure and you're like, yeah, this sounds great, I'm not ready. I don't know. I have to, you're probably saying something to yourself that sounds like this. That sounds great in an ideal world. There's literally no way. I have to put everything together. Like I would have to organize everything. I'd have to go through my folders. I just can't even think about bringing somebody new in. The thought itself is exhausting you. For you, we have a strategy call where you sit down with me. We don't want your business to break your brain. And we don't want you to build something that will eventually break your brain. When you book a strategy call with me, we look at all of your current leaks and we decide if you need to train your people, hire one of mine, go back to an existing team member, reorganize the tasks. We will figure out what is going on, where there are gaps, where there are leaks, where something is broken, where something is about to break, and we'll put together a roadmap so that that doesn't happen. No matter what, our entire goal at Alisto is for you to feel supported exactly in the way that you need to be supported. And often that can be a bit confusing for people because they say, well, what do you sell? And we sell a lot of things at the end of the day, but what we sell is the support that is customized to you in the way that you need it without any extras and without anything missing. Don't pay for stuff you don't need, and don't settle for something that isn't everything you need. You should be able to have the best of every single world. It simply requires a business that has the patience and desire to listen to you and get to know you and fix your challenges and support you in your gaps and not simply try and make money off of your back. So we are all out here doing our absolute best. And only by being a strong, supportive small business community are we all going to be able to continue building a better future and a better world for all of us.
That's so nice, Miss A. I just want to piggyback with what you said and what we're doing as well with Alisto. We are not just, personally, we are not just like supporting you. We want to champion you and work behind the scenes with you. So when we say we want to support you and champion you, it's more like we know that you will create more impact moving forward, and we want to be part of that impact. So I think that's the purpose as well of why we do what we do here in Alisto. So yeah, just my 2 cents about.
Faye or Jalen, do you want to leave us with something? Faye sometimes comes in with wisdom nuggets at the end.
Um, Always remember that we are this way at this particular time because we train for it, we build a system for it. It did not happen after one night of sleep. Everything has been planned, everything has been structured. So if you are very much into structural things, being organized, you know what you want, you know what you don't want, subscribe for Distant Academy. It will help you. It will help your distant assistant or soon to be distant assistant. They will get trained. You will be focused on what you need to be focused on. Task will be prioritized. Everything will be easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So that's my take, and I hope that in the coming weeks, fingers crossed, we'll be training new distant assistants to help your business out as a neurodivergent co-founder or founder. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for coming out on a Wednesday morning. If you're catching the replay, let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know what you thought was impossible that now maybe seems like it might be possible if you just let yourself dream. If you dare to dream your biggest dream, what feels like maybe it's possible now that wasn't possible before? Looking forward to reading y'all's answers. See you next time. Bye.